Cheers, everyone. Well, we gotta do this a little bit differently. Cheers, everyone. This is Bluster Brewmaster here, and welcome to the Brew Review, where I brew. Welcome to the Brew Review, where I review brews so you too can enjoy a good brew. If you haven't guessed by now, this review is in reference to a certain YouTuber out there, whose name goes by Markiplier, but you also may know Wilfred Warfstache. Alright, that's enough of that, really. So this beer that I made here is a beer that I made in celebration of some really great YouTubers out there. I just kind of decided I would start, I just kind of decided that I would make some beers that I think would really kind of capture the spirit of some of the really great YouTubers out there, some of the top guys and everything. So this one right here is named after Markiplier. It's a Wilfred Warfstache Manly Double IPA. When you drink this thing, it'll make you feel like a real man. Check those guns. Do you see them? Those some big guns? Are they really big? So I called this thing Wilfred Warfstache Manly Double IPA because this is one hell of a strong beer right here. This is at about 10.1% ABV, alcohol by volume, and is 109 IBUs, bittering units. Basically, this is a bitter beer, but it's also a very hoppy and fresh beer. And this is kind of something I really liked when I made this thing. This is just kind of a really tasty sort of beer, and this is going to be a review of that. So this beer right here, for its base, has a split between Pale Two-Row and Maris Otter, which is a British sort of malt. So basically, it's kind of a little bit split between the two, which gives it a little bit of a unique characteristic, a little slight bready tones to it. There's also dextrin malt in here, give it a little bit better mouthfeel. There's, as well as better head retention. There's also caramel malt, gives a little bit more of a caramely sweetness to it. And I also put in a little bit of victory malt too, which kind of gives a little bit more toastiness to it, just kind of makes it a little pop a little bit more. But of course, the main thing for this is this has 109 bittering units. This is meant to be a hoppy beer too, and I mean really strong. You've got to have something that's going to counter such a high gravity level on that. For the part that gets that bittering to it, I put in about 2 ounces of Magnum hops, and then the rest of this was kind of for flavoring purposes, broken down over the time of the boil. There's also going to be Simcoe hops in there, which bring out a bit more of a piney character, a little bit of a sticky sweetness to it too. Cascade, Mosaic hops, so they give it a little bit more of a citrusy sort of characteristics. Dorado gives it a very passion fruit, and Galaxy hops. So the Mosaic hops, they give them a bit more of a complex sort of mixture of flavors, a little bit of citrusy, passion fruit, earthy, piney sort of characteristics. And the Galaxy hops are going to give it a bit more citrusy, peachy, and passion fruit sort of characteristic too. So that's why I kind of picked all of these different hops to go together with it. And then to kind of finish this off, as far as the strain of yeast that I chose for this, and then what I decided to pick for this, because of how high this was going to be, that we're hitting like 10% on this, is the San Diego Super Yeast. So that's basically what everything went into this beer. And if you want to actually be able to brew it yourself, and I mean, if you know anything about brewing, it's going to be kind of the first important part. But down in the link below, I'm going to leave a copy of this recipe for you so that you can try this out yourself if you want to. So this is a first attempt really at making this recipe, and I think that, you know, this is going to be kind of the sort of thing to give you a good idea as to what exactly to expect from making this kind of recipe. This was just something that I kind of invented, just based on knowing the characteristics of the malts, of the hops, of the yeast, that I knew that was going to produce something that I think that I would really like. So let me just go ahead and share that with you right now and just kind of tell you exactly how it turned out. So now the first thing is that, you know, at 10% you would kind of expect to really get kind of a kick from the alcohol, but I don't really get that. It's kind of clean drinking it down, but you get definitely this kind of really good sort of malt backbone to this. Some of this now, like I said, because of the fact that the Magnum hops that I was using weren't quite the freshest that they could have been, I didn't hit that 109 bittering units, I'm pretty sure of that. So this is definitely a bit under there. But I think that bringing in some good fresh Magnum hops would really kind of brighten this up a bit. And kind of going on to that, with the bitterness and everything, I catch definitely a good citrusy sort of characteristic. Definitely kind of like a mix of fruits and such. I didn't quite get as much of the pine sort of taste that I was looking for. The earth tones are kind of definitely a bit mellowed out, which is good. I didn't want those to be too strong. I definitely like the fact that this is definitely very fruity in taste, a little bit citrusy. I kind of like a little bit more citrus and a little bit more pine. So I think next time when I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to end up moving the Simcoe around as far as when I start to actually put that in. I might also double up the Simcoe when it's in the dry hopping stage. Basically, I would be bringing up the Simcoe hops. I would probably be bringing up the Cascade hops a bit too, to kind of bring up a little bit more of a citrusy characteristic to this. The rest of them I'd probably go ahead and leave alone, but I also kind of want it to be a little bit brighter. But this is definitely a very good beer. This is probably one of my favorite ones that I've made. I've made another one that I think worked out really well. I'm going to make this one again this Christmas time. This was a Christmas beer that I made for everyone. This was a Belgian Golden Strong one. I called that one Complete and Utter Annihilation. Now, if you've actually played the Sam and Max series from Telltale Games, you might know something about why it's called Complete and Utter Annihilation.
Does this say that it has to do with the Belgians?
But yeah, no, this is definitely a fantastic beer. And I mean, this, like I said, this is a strong beer too, so I'm already kind of feeling just a little bit of that. Yeah, no, this, if I could bring a little bit sharper characteristics to a little bit more pine, a little bit more citrus, kind of make those hops pop a little bit more, I think that this would be phenomenal. This has got just a perfect malt characteristic, the yeast aspects of it. Like I said, it's clean, but you get a little bit kind of some of the byproducts from the yeast in there, which is good though. It's definitely just kind of meshes really well with the character of this. And so I think that, you know, this is definitely a fantastic beer. So check it out here in the description below. If you have any questions about it, you know, if you just want to know why did I use some of this stuff, you know, what you think could be used in contrast. Hell, if you have any opinions on it, I mean, you know, if you think something else could be done that's a little bit different, you know, then just go ahead and let me know. But I mean, here's to you, Markiplier. This is definitely a beer that I think you would really enjoy. So if you ever find your way over to Raleigh, North Carolina, which I think there might be kind of some reasons you might every once in a while, you know, let me know. I'll try to make sure I've got a batch ready for you. So that's all for now. Thank you for joining me on this little beer review. I hope that I enlighten you and kind of tell you a little bit of something interesting about beer. And if you liked it, go ahead and please give it a like, a comment, and a subscribe. So thanks again. Raise your glass in the air and have another pint on me. Love and peace.